Hey everyone, it's Flackfire. Today I'm here with some particularly juicy rumors of DLC in Fallout 4. Now, we don't have a lot to go on in terms of DLC. We've heard pretty much nothing from Bethesda other than Fallout 4 will have DLC, but we need to only look at the past to get an idea as to what to expect for the future. Let's do a bit of a historical recap here. Fallout 3 was released on October 28, 2008. Now, the first DLC for Fallout 3, Operation Anchorage, was released on January 27, 2009, just 3 months after the release of the core game. Fallout New Vegas was released on October 19, 2010. Its first DLC, Dead Money, came out rather quickly on December 21, 2010, just a mere 2 months after the core game. Now, I've actually spoken with producers of AAA video games on the topic of DLC. Most of them aim for a window of about 2 to 3 months for the first piece of DLC content. There's lots of reasons for doing that, but basically it comes down to it means that you'll keep more people playing your game before they get distracted and move off to another one. This means we should know some details about Fallout 4 DLC soon, concrete details, with a release, I'm going to guess, likely in February. In most past Fallout DLC, the player is taken to a world outside the main map area. It's actually a great thing in my opinion, as it creates more speculation and excitement about DLC. Some downloadable content has been what I would call local to the game. For example, Fallout New Vegas Dead Money, we explored the Sierra Madre Casino, which was, not that far away. Others have been a world away, like Fallout 3's Operation Anchorage, obviously took place in Alaska. Sort of. And then there have been some that were, a little weird, like you get abducted by aliens in Fallout 3's Mothership Zeta DLC. Most of the DLC is started after the player receives a radio signal or a message, so I would expect that trend to continue here. Now, if you've been following most of the DLC speculation for Fallout 4, it pretty much surrounds the coast of Boston and the waters off of it. If you take a look at the Commonwealth map on the Pip-Boy, the amount of water there is huge. It covers a third or more of the map space. And it's not empty either. If you go into the water, you'll find all manner of interesting things like sunken boats, large pipes that lead to nowhere, and even skeletons in bathtubs. So it's completely conceivable that DLC for Fallout 4 may be aquatic in nature. There's also hints at underwater combat in the files of the game. Among the cut content in Fallout 4, you'll find a harpoon gun. Now, you can't actually obtain the gun in the game without modding it, but it does, in fact, exist. It's allegedly part of a cut quest called 20 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, there are no details on what this quest may have included, but the harpoon gun indicates there may have been underwater combat planned for Fallout 4 at some point. So does this mean this could be added in the future? It's possible. Some cut content in core Fallout games in the past have re-emerged later in DLC. Among them, cryo grenades and cryo mines that we saw in the Mothership Zeta DLC for Fallout 3. It's not uncommon in-game development for content that was not ready at launch to be released later as part of DLC. This has been confirmed to me by video game producers, so we know that that's possible. Poking a hole in the underwater exploration theory, there are 0 underwater enemies in Fallout 4. In fact, there is nothing living in the water in Fallout 4. No fish, no whales, no nothing. I'm going to say Mirelurks don't count because they live on the shoreline, but it would be a pretty big jump to add an entire ecosystem to the waters off of the Commonwealth. Still, this doesn't quite mean aquatic life doesn't exist further out at sea. DLC may bring us to a different location where fish and similar creatures survived the radiation. I'm going to say that this is the most likely of scenarios for the first pack of Fallout 4 DLC. And I'm going to show you why. If you check the screen here, I'm at the Nahat Oceanological Society. It seems very interesting to me that this building even exists in the game because there's really no reason for it. There are other locations in the game that in real-world Boston would have been more interesting to visit. There's a question of why it's there, why you can go into it, why there are computers in there that you can read files on. On those files on the computer, they talk about one of the researchers being in the research lab, which is one of the buildings there, but it's also possible that that may refer to some underground or rather underwater facility. In the real world, the place where the Nahant Oceanological Society is located actually was a military installation back during the Cold War, so it has some intrigue to it as well. And I actually got into the water in Fallout 4 and went out to the back of the research lab. There's this, it looks like some kind of platform, could be a door. It's obviously some kind of access hatch. You can't access it now, but I would make a bet that if there is downloadable content for underwater in Fallout 4, it will start at this point, and you will be taken to an underwater oceanological research facility. And if you follow the pipes that lead up to that, they take you to some very interesting underwater structures. If that's not the case, there are also other avenues for the developers at Fallout 4 to get us from the surface to an underwater research facility. The perfect vehicle for that is the Yangtze submarine. It's conceivable that Captain Zhao could take us to sea, but it's also conceivable he could take us somewhere else, and that's where this next rumor goes. So where could somewhere else be? Well, if you complete the quest Here There Be Monsters, Captain Zhao gives you homing beacons for tactical nukes in the event you get stuck in a tight spot. He does this explaining, I do not want to bring the fire home. Yet he never leaves, and the Yangtze remains in Boston Harbor. Now, why didn't Bethesda just remove the submarine after the quest's completion? Given the range of the nuclear missiles, Zhao could, of course, still fire them while at sea, so why does his ship remain? It's possible that DLC for Fallout 4 may take us to the Chinese homeland. After all, we've seen a large amount of the ruined United States in the Fallout series. We've seen the American side of the story and the impact it had on the population, so it's easy to forget that nobody wins in a world of mutually assured destruction. It's clear Captain Zhao regrets his decision to fire his missiles as ordered. If you remember, he says such bay, meaning sadness. Perhaps the sole survivor from Vault 111 can find his pre-war passport and travel to China. It's a little bit out there, but it is still a more down-to-earth scenario than the DLC we saw for Mothership Zeta in Fallout 3. And the last possibility that I want to talk about is one that I feel has some great potential. It has to do with another international player, that one being the United Kingdom. We know next to nothing about how other countries fared after the bombs fell. We would assume Great Britain also suffered a similar fate, but it's not confirmed. In fact, Alistair Tenpenny from Fallout 3 moved to the capital wasteland from Great Britain after the war seeking fortune. Post-war Megaton's Colin Moriarty moved to the U.S. as a child, so this sets a precedent. We do know that there is a way to go to and from Great Britain. Taking into account the location and history of Boston, what if the Commonwealth faces an invasion from the British, intent on retaking the colonies? I know that's a stretch, but bear with me here. Boston is the site of the famous Tea Party. Paul Revere's house exists in the game. You already have a character named John Hancock, and the USS Constitution is sitting on top of a building. That boat actually fought the British in the War of 1812. The United Kingdom or nations within it are referenced or mentioned in Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, its add-on Point Lookout, Fallout New Vegas, its add-ons Dead Money, Honest Hearts, and Old World Blues, Fallout 4, Fallout Tactics, and Van Buren. The United Kingdom was also supposed to appear in the hypothetical Fallout Resource Wars. So it doesn't seem so far off now, does it? It's within the realm of possibility that the British could send an occupational force intent on getting in on potential riches in Boston. This could present the player with interesting choices to either help or repel the invasion. It also creates an opportunity to explore history common in the cultural memory of both Americans and Britons. And honestly, it's too good not to do, and it would have the perfect quest title in The British Invasion, if you want a Beatles reference. Oh, and you know how many lanterns are lit in the old church? 2. Just like in Paul Revere's days, the British may be coming by sea. Regardless of where the new DLC takes place, there are a few things that we are guaranteed to see. New characters, new weapons, new armor, new power armor, and then new mods for all of them. Previous expansions to Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas included a plethora of new gear for players to take with them into the Wasteland. I'd also wager we'll see new items for building in our settlements, given that settlement building has taken off with players here for Fallout 4. I would imagine Bethesda would like to keep that trend going and keep supplying players with options to personalize their game. At the E3 2015 presentation, developers said structures in Fallout 4 work just because of its dynamic game engine, so it shouldn't be difficult to give us Institute buildings or at least some other assets to play with. So what do you think about our predictions? What are yours? Let us know in the comments. We'll keep you posted on developments of Fallout 4 DLC as soon as we get some concrete details. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.